Hey guys, welcome back. I am so glad you are here. Today we're going to talk about before spring break survival strategies because I'm sure your students are very antsy and going a little crazy, and maybe you are too. And what can you do to help with all of this energy and anxiousness that your students have? How can you help them stay focused and learning and growing before spring break? So, that is what we're going to talk about today. Some strategies, some ideas that you can incorporate to hopefully get your students, get all that energy out in some ways, but also focused back in on learning. Welcome to Behavior Strategies for Class. I am Diane Bachman, your behavior paraprofessional with over 15 years of experience working in special education. And I'm so glad you're here because I'll be teaching you about social emotional learning, behavior strategies, trauma-informed care, and more. So if you are tired of being frustrated and not knowing what to do with your students who have challenging and disruptive behavior, you're in the right place. Now, if you're ready to become more equipped to help your students learn and grow, let's listen in to today's episode. And remember, I am here to help empower educators with effective behavior management strategies that work. Guys, you are in the right place. You are not alone. And so before we get started, I want to remind you to hit that subscribe button, leave a review wherever you are listening. I would love to hear your thoughts and ideas on how this podcast has been helping you with your challenging students. And also join my Facebook group, Behavior Strategies for Class. There are a ton of amazing educators in there that you can learn from as well. So leave a review, hit that subscribe button. Now, this is the time that it's beautiful outside for the most part. I'm in Colorado, so the weather is like up and down. One day it could be 60, the next day we have 4 inches of snow. So when we get those 60-degree weather days, the students are ready to go outside. Like they are ready to run, they're ready to play. And so we usually try and incorporate that outside time into their break time. So usually we will say, okay, if you want to go do a running break, or we've played badminton outside before, we've thrown the football around outside before. All kinds of different activities that we will try and do outside because just as everybody else, our students have a lot of energy, and so we need to help them get that out. But also our students are struggling also with emotional tension and that emotional anxiousness too. And so when they can just get outside and run, like that really helps to release some of that tension that they just don't know what else to do with. And so we take advantage of that time. And we will incorporate, like I said, for their break time. And so this could either be their break or some time that they earn to go outside. So we have some students that struggle with getting their schoolwork done. So this sometimes is a motivator, and we can say, okay, well, once your math is done, then we can go outside and play badminton for a little bit. Usually it's about 5 minutes. Other times they'll ask, like, can I go outside? I want to run. And usually, like, if the weather permits, like, we're going outside. Go run. And so that is super important because it just helps your whole mental state when you can get outside, get that sunshine, get that vitamin D. And so we want to take advantage of that. And we usually do, like I said, or sometimes our students like to go swing. That was one of the things, one of the 5th graders that I worked with, she loved to swing. And so anytime we could, she would earn a break and we would go outside and swing for 5 minutes. Like that was just something she loved to do. And so it's finding also what they love to do. What do they enjoy to do? So incorporating those outside breaks was really important for our students as we were getting closer and closer to spring break. And then of course, these will be important for when it's like near the end of the school year. And again, we have that anxious energy and all of that. So I have 6 ideas for you today, and you can take 1, 2, try them all, and just incorporate them. I would just encourage you to try them out and see how they help your students. See how they help the energy in your room. And of course, we don't want to squash all of that energy, but we want to be able to divert it in the right direction. So number 1 that you can do this is creating that countdown. So of course, it's the rings, the paper rings that you could have your students create, put it all together, and then every day have one student tear off one of the rings. And so that is your countdown for the day. That is super easy, doesn't take a lot of time, and your students get to participate in that. And so that kind of builds up their excitement for spring break. But again, it helps them to focus. They're still learning. They're counting down. There's math. So it all works together. And number 2 would be more frequent movement breaks. One of the favorite videos that our students like is by Danny Go. And he has a lot of fun videos, energy, dancing, exercising videos. And so those are a lot of fun. And those could be, 2 minutes to 10 minutes. So whatever it is that your time allows, those are super easy to do. And you can tell when your class is really starting to get anxious and the kids are moving around a little bit more in their seats. And it's like, okay, everybody needs to take a break. Put your pencils, papers down. We're going to do a Danny Go for 2 minutes. It really doesn't take a long time, but again, it helps them to get that energy out, get their minds, going in a different direction, and yet helps them to come back and focus after that. So number 3 is a fun one, and that is a nature scavenger hunt. So this could be part of your science lesson. If you're able to go outside, and whether it's just in the recess area, playground, or maybe you have a field nearby that you're able to go to, or whether there's a trail nearby that you can use, and just go on that nature scavenger hunt. Again, it could be 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and that could be your science lesson for the day. Or you could do a little bit each and every day and kind of, space it out so that takes up time and you're still going outside, getting that vitamin D again, and gets them out walking. It's a movement break also, and science all together. So that is a great activity to do, a nature scavenger hunt. And then number 4, a little twist on that is the sensory nature walk. So this is the sensory where, what are they hearing? What do they see? What can they smell? As you are outside, again, either taking a walk, or maybe you just go sit in the field for a minute and get those sensories going. And then they have to document it in maybe their science folder or their science notebook or whatever it is. That is awesome. A great activity that I have seen work really well. It's different, right? Because you don't always think about that. You're always like looking around trying to get something when you're on a nature hike, where we don't stop and actually listen. What are we hearing? What do you really smell when you're sitting out here? What are you seeing? I just love that one, as you can tell. So a sensory nature walk. And number 5 is a journal or giving them an opportunity to dream about plans for spring break. Now, we have some students, they have gone on cruises, they have gone to Puerto Rico, they have gone to Belize, they have gone to Europe. I mean, some of our students have just been all over the place. And of course, not everybody is able to do that, and maybe they're just hanging out at home with their friends, or maybe they're going to their cousin's house. Maybe they're going to grandparents. Maybe they are going to go on a trip. We've had kids go to Disneyland or Disney World and go to Florida and, or they can just dream of what would they really love to do and have them dream about it, journal about it, draw a picture of what would it look like, or what are they excited about for spring break. That's another opportunity for them to write what they're going to do or what they're planning on. Maybe they're going to hang out with some friends. What are they going to do when they're with their friends? So those are great ideas. Get their minds thinking, writing, drawing. A great activity. Again, it doesn't have to be a super long activity. And you could, do maybe a couple minutes in the morning, maybe a couple minutes in the afternoon, or maybe you just do it a couple days a week, whatever works for your schedule. But it's a great activity for your students to get to use their imagination, and taking time to do that it's a lot of fun to see how they really express themselves. And then number 6, this is a little bit different, but I think is great. And this is giving your students opportunity to teach the class something about themselves or something that they like to do. Like we've had students who do Taekwondo and they're earning their, I don't even know the colors of the belt because my kids never did that. Anyways, red belt, I don't know. And they could teach the class, like, this is what I do when I go to practice. And maybe they could share a couple of the moves that they work on. Or you have another student who's really great at drawing, and you could have them teach the class maybe one of their favorite pictures that they draw. Or it's somebody who loves to skateboard, play basketball, play soccer, drawing, coloring. I don't even know. I'm sure a lot of them, of course, are video games. And obviously, I don't think most of our students are going to be able to bring in their video games and show them, the class how they play video games and build up whatever it is that they do in video games. I don't really play those either, so I don't know anything about that. But what is one thing that your student is unique at that they would be willing to teach the class about? I think that's a great opportunity that works on their communication, their speech, their presentation, being in front of class. That helps to boost their confidence. That again shows them that you care about them, you value them, and you want them to be seen and heard, not only by you, but by their peers. And so I think that is super powerful if you are able to get that into your schedule. And again, this doesn't have to be every day. It doesn't have to be, all of your students all at once. Maybe you do it on a Friday and, 3 students do it on Friday. So it's every Friday, now until your spring break. Or you can still keep it incorporated and do it after spring break. I think it is a great opportunity giving your students that chance to present to their peers something that is unique and special about them. So, 6 ways that you can help your students and their anxiousness and their energy, and to help come back and get focused on their learning is creating a countdown for your classroom, allowing for more frequent movement breaks. Danny Go is pretty awesome. Having a nature scavenger hunt for your science, or doing a sensory nature walk for science. Giving them an opportunity to journal or dream about plans for spring break. And then lastly, giving your students an opportunity to teach their peers something about themselves, something that's unique about them. That is super exciting. And if you guys listened to last week, we had a long episode with Andrew, but we had tons of information on a more serious note and serious warning signs to look at and to think about for your students. Is there something that you're missing, or maybe you need to go back and double check? I really encourage you to check out that episode, number 178. There's a lot of great information in there. But that kind of goes back to survival. You could have kids that are really going to be stressed out, and they're really going to be emotional about spring break because maybe they're going to be with that other parent that they don't usually see very often. And so they're not really comfortable with that. Or they're not able to go on whatever trip it is. Maybe there's a medical issue going on in the family and they are not able to go anywhere or do anything. And so this also can be a very emotional, weighty time as well that your students may be going through because of other factors that obviously you can't control. And sometimes you may not know. But I would also encourage you to be aware of your students and if there is any sudden changes in behaviors or emotionally or socially that's, a little bit above what you normally see. And by this time of the year, your students. You can tell if one student is really struggling that day. Or maybe it's been a week. Maybe it's been longer than that. Or now you have a student joking about hurting himself. Just be aware that this also can be a super exciting time. Of course, we're excited. We're ready to take a break and go relax and hang out with our friends and family. But there are, obviously other things that your students, it's not going to be a fun time for them. So again, just being aware of your students, being aware enough to listen, to ask questions, and giving them opportunity to share. So what strategy will you use to help keep your sanity before spring break? Which one of these things will you try? I really encourage you to try at least one of them, if not 2 or 3, or even all of them. I think they will be great activities that your students will enjoy, and you will too. So I want to leave you also with this quote, and this is from Vladimir Lenin. Lenin, I think that's how it is pronounced. He's actually the founder of Soviet Russia, which I had no idea. But I saw this quote and he said, "Learning is never done without errors and defeat." And I don't say that to be a downer, but just to remember, you could try one of these activities and your class, is not super excited about it. They're not into it. And it's okay. Move on to the next thing. Or knowing, if your students are struggling, it's okay. They're still learning and learning how to cope with that and learning how to deal with that. And you are teaching that and being that model for them each and every day. So again, what strategy will you use to help keep your sanity before spring break? Again, try 1, 2, all of them. I think you'll be surprised, pleasantly surprised, and to see your kids continue to flourish, because you guys are doing an amazing job. And every day you show up, whether you want to be there or not, and put a smile on your face, and that puts a smile on your student's face, and that is the best. So thanks so much for all that you do for your students each and every day. We'll see you next week. Thanks so much for listening. I truly appreciate your support. And if I have encouraged you, motivated you to continue to learn, to support your students, even better, to help them strive in your classroom, please leave a review, hit that subscribe button so that others can see they can learn and grow here as well. Thank you.